Hey, welcome back for more Reddit stories. At popular request, today we have a couple of entitled stories for you to enjoy, so sit back and enjoy. Let's go! Karen tries to ruin a cancer patient's Make-A-Wish day so her child won't be inconvenienced. I work for a small production company and we do a ton of charitable work. That day, a few of our crew members, myself included, were lent out for a Make-A-Wish type thing for a girl whose wish was to have her original song made into a music video. She was battling cancer, so of course, every precaution had to be taken COVID-wise. The director reserved a scenic section of the park and got all set up there so we could be outdoors with plenty of distance. Apparently, this was the only section of the park with a picnic area. We weren't aware of this, and occasionally some people would come over miffed, asking why we had reserved the whole picnic area. But before they could get the whole complaint out, they would realize the situation and leave us be. Embarrassed to even have asked. This young lady was around 14 or 15 and having a great time shooting these scenes for a music video until cue Karen. A mess of cheap Botox and overpriced athleisure gear started crossing our clearly marked barricades with her daughter. Around 6 or 7. Our PA production assistant rushed over, figuring she was too dumb to notice all of our signage and physical blockades, and explained in a hushed tone that she was intruding on a private film set. Karen replied intentionally loudly that it was a public park and she had every right to use any part of it she pleased. Now, was it a tad bit inconvenient that we had commandeered a large strip of public land, the only area with seating? Absolutely. But the handful of people who had wandered over to complain immediately processed the nature of this project and gladly made other plans for themselves. Karen wasn't budging, but we had a permit from the city to be there, so we let her know she could quiet down or shove off. We actually had a right to have her ejected if she was being disruptive to our filming. We really didn't want to though, and we didn't exactly have the manpower to do it without calling authorities. And we didn't want to put a damper on this fun event or make a scene in front of her daughter. So the director paused filming to try and de-escalate things. There was supposed to be a liaison from the Make-A-Wish style program there, but the catering guy had gotten lost on the way to the park and she had gone to look for him. So the director showed Karen the permit we had and warned her a final time she either needed to watch calmly or get out of there. She pulled her young daughter off to the side and started trying to go at her into singing. The kid was better able to read the room than mom because she was too embarrassed to start singing and tried saying she wanted to wait until she got home. But Karen kept pointing her phone camera at the kid and shrieking she wants her to sing there and then so she could film it. Eventually she started playing some Disney song on her phone and the kid began hissing along, interrupting out our footage, much to Karen's twisted satisfaction. Finally, the director had it and informed her that even though she had technically moved off the land we had physically reserved, that the noise she and her daughter were generating was disruptive, so he could still have her removed. Not even sure this is true, but I think he just correctly assumed that, hello 911, this woman is harassing a young girl with cancer trying to experience her Make-A-Wish day, wouldn't end in Karen's favor. But Karen's pride wouldn't allow her to simply walk away from the situation, so once her daughter had ceased this loud off-key singing, she continued lingering even as her child begged her to go play by a pond almost a quarter of a mile over. Karen continually tried to force her daughter into the shot with hopes it would make us to move, cruelly getting her kids' hopes up and dashing them repeatedly. So I guess the kid wasn't especially bright either. She would keep saying, "Look baby, they are making a movie. Quick, go be in the movie so you can get famous, hurry." And the girl would run onto our set, or try to, and the PA or the key grip would return her to her mom before she could run across our shots. But her daughter's anguished cries of disappointment at not becoming famous each time we returned her to her mom were enough to render most of the footage, if not useless, at least a lot less fun than it was intended to be. I guess Karen didn't think we heard her go-heading her child into disrupting us with fake promises of superstardom, because when the director came over for a final warning, she tried to play dumb, saying, "Oh, I think she's just dead set on using the picnic space. Since this is the only picnic space in the entire park, it would probably just be easier for you to move her," said with a combination of faux sweetness and imagined authority. Clearly, she had no idea what it takes to set up for a film if she thought we could just move locations on a whim. The director turned out to be bluffing on calling the cops because he didn't want to create a scene until the liaison returned, so he just had a couple of big cruise guys keep her and her daughter at bay. Eventually, the liaison did came back, but honestly, she wasn't particularly helpful. Karen deduced that she was who in charge and who everyone was waiting for in order to take action, so magically shaped up the minute she appeared and stood quietly to the side. So when every crew member descended on the liaison at once, she just meekly said, "Well, it's fine if she watches, right? People are probably just curious what's going on." Thankfully, the girl in the video had been having her makeup done for most of this while we filmed a backup dancer scene, so didn't really notice most of the debacle and didn't care one way or another. Because Karen had a little kid with her, the girl didn't say she couldn't watch, even though she was visibly uncomfortable at the strange audience. She kept waving to and winking at the little girl though, who thought she was some kind of celebrity. It was actually pretty cute and a perfect compliment to her music video Make-A-Wish. Karen hated that and kept muttering to passerby, trying to surmount insurrection. But unbeknownst to her, just about everyone in the general area was affiliated with our shoot. She did manage to find one or two people who were irate about the picnic area being closed, thinking we were just some greedy private party who had sectioned it off from other guests, but then they realized it was some kind of film production and started miling around out of idle curiosity. Again, we were mostly filming backup dancers at this point, a couple of the girls' friends, so I give credit to Karen that if she wasn't paying a lot of close attention to the filming itself, it may not have been immediately obvious what exactly we were doing at that point. That still doesn't make what she did next okay. She had made the occasional comment to the other picnic people and was winning some of them over. She would say something like, "But do they need the entire space?" and get an affirmative nod. Whatever. I don't think the other people were really listening that closely. They were watching too intently, waiting for someone famous to pop out in a music video. Our tech people had determined that it wasn't interfering with the audio, so we had begun to ignore her as long as she stayed out of the way. Then the star girl comes out for a big emotional dance scene and she's really giving it her all. So Karen decides to throw in another blow by turning to a woman nearest her and saying, again, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Oh God, look, it's one of those girls who think it's cool to pretend to be a boy." Albeit she hasn't stopped to consider how long it will take to grow her hair back. You would think Karen would have stopped for a second to consider that maybe the girl was not cultivating a chic, new look and in fact had cancer. Or better yet, that maybe a stranger's hairstyle wasn't her business in any case. And maybe her not having eyebrows or arm hair either was a clue. But no. So our poor starring girl hears this and crumbles up in tears. Now, assuming that the crowds who had been gathering throughout the day were not doing so because they thought she was some famous pop star, but instead to gawk because she was strange looking. She rushed away, and those standing anywhere near Karen hurried off to make clear they weren't associated with her. That's when the liaison realized what we had been trying to warn her about with Karen's behavior and tore into her along with several members of the girl's extended family. Like a true coward, Karen didn't even try to apologize. She just bolted as quickly as she could, saying, "You know, maybe we'll find a different spot since you're clearly busy," as though she were doing us a special consideration. Luckily, our lead girl's extended family was there and cheered her up very quickly, and some supportive civilians had showed up with genuine curiosity about the film set, then loved watching her dance for no other reason then they loved watching her dance. So she was happy and having fun again very quickly after Karen scuffled off. But still, really quite a hurtful and inappropriate spectacle. If she gets this worked up over a picnic table, I can only imagine when her daughter starts to face life's real challenges. So that was the entitled story for today's video. If you enjoyed this, you can give me a like to support this channel or leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.